Distraction begins when your work lacks a clear internal purpose. The smartphone isn't the root cause of your wandering mind, it's just the most accessible escape route. Most people try to fix this with environmental band-aids. They put on study music, download app blockers, or move to a quiet library. These tactics fail because they ignore the underlying lack of interest in the task itself. We are going to construct a focus blueprint. This is a structured process designed to identify our core internal drivers and use them to override the brain's natural resistance to difficult work. Let's prepare. Grab a pen and a piece of paper. Identify one specific task you have been dreading and physically place every digital device in another room. Focus is an internal skill that must be built through deliberate mental training. It cannot be outsourced to an app. Step 1 is the distraction audit. You must identify the wrong track, the cycle of temporary pleasures you use to avoid the friction of your work. Escapism is a survival mechanism for the lazy brain. When a task feels difficult or boring, the mind treats that boredom as pain and seeks the nearest exit, whether that's mindless scrolling, indulging in overeating, or escaping into sleep. On your paper, list your personal exits. Write down exactly what you do the moment your work starts to feel uncomfortable. This chart represents the friction point where your timeline splits. Distractions are the path of least resistance. Relying on willpower alone to block distractions creates this loop. Without a deeper reason to stay on the uphill path, you fall back into stagnation. Until you address the root lack of interest in the work, surface-level restrictions will eventually collapse. Step 2 is finding your waja, a Hindi term for a burning, non-negotiable desire. Imagine being lost in a desert like this for 2 days. The heat is relentless, and you haven't had a single drop of water. In this state, the biological drive for survival overrides everything. You have zero capacity for distraction because your mind has a singular, obsessive focus on water. Finding a waja applies this same biological logic to your cognitive tasks. By identifying a reason that makes your long-term success a matter of personal survival, you create a cognitive priority that can override the brain's desire for small, immediate comforts. Look at your gaper. Write down your ultimate, non-negotiable waja for completing the task you identified. Discard weak external reasons, like pleasing your parents or getting a passing grade. Dig for a motive that is deeply personal, a reason that makes the idea of failure feel like a threat to your very future. A massive internal reason provides the leverage your intelligence needs to confront your distractions directly, rather than just trying to hide from them. Step 3 is recognizing that your mind is not naturally designed for modern work. Think of your mind as an untamed horse. It is a powerful engine that instinctively runs toward pleasure and away from the pain of effort. Your role is not to be the horse, but to be the rider who directs its power. Without intervention, your mind pulls in chaotic, random directions. When work gets difficult, the horse makes excuses to stop. Your intelligence is the only tool that can force those chaotic impulses to align into a single, productive direction. Use the waja you wrote down to pull the mental reins. When the mind wanders, you must forcefully and repeatedly bring it back to the task without accepting any excuses. Focus is the active, deliberate redirection of a wandering mind. It is a constant tug-of-war that you must win through sheer repetition. Step 4 is the physical initiation of the task, which requires you to push through the initial barrier of boredom. Physically open your book or your project right now. You will feel immediate mental friction. Your body will likely experience a literal craving to check your phone or find any reason to stand up and walk away. This mental friction is a natural biological response to high-effort work. Treat this discomfort as the necessary cost of entry for long-term growth. You have to choose between the temporary pain of discipline or the permanent, slow-acting poison of cheap pleasure. When the urge to quit is strongest, anchor yourself with this mantra: Mujhe kuch karna hai. I must do something with my life. You do not need to enjoy the task to finish it. You only need to accept the friction as a requirement for the result you want. By simply starting the task despite the mental resistance, you have taken the first step in taming your wild mind. Proving to yourself that you can work through friction is the only way to build genuine, lasting self-discipline. Inspiration provides the initial spark, but focus is maintained only through continuous, daily effort. Place that piece of paper with your waja where you will see it every time you sit down to work. Look at that reason and pull the mental reins every single time you feel the pull toward temporary relief. Your future is the sum of these small, deliberate choices. Choose your purpose over your distractions every single day.